Superior pond, superior care, your backyard retreat beyond compare. Minnesota's finest at your call. Your pond stays perfect all year long.
Picture your backyard, right, on a Tuesday morning. You've got a cup of coffee in hand.
Oh, the best part of the day.
Exactly. You walk out to the patio and you look over at this beautiful water feature you built, a few years ago.
Right.
But instead of that rushing therapeutic sound of water over rocks, there is just this sad, anemic little trickle.
Oh, man. That is just a sinking feeling.
It really is. And the water, which used to be crystal clear, looks like, well, split pea soup.
Yeah, your immediate instinct is usually just pure frustration, followed very closely by, wanting it fixed yesterday.
Right. Which brings us to the perfect analogy for today's deep dive. I mean, if you walked into a doctor's office with a chronic splitting migraine,
Yeah.
you wouldn't just stand at the reception desk, point to your forehead and say, hey, can you just give this a quick look and tell me exactly what's wrong?
Right, and how to fix it before I head back to my car.
Exactly. The doctor can't just glance at your skin and see the internal machinery of your nervous system. You expect them to ask for a history, take your blood pressure, maybe run some labs.
Because the human body is a deeply complex, interconnected system. I mean, surface symptoms almost never reveal root causes on their own.
Okay, let's unpack this, because today we are applying that exact medical mindset to something you would probably never think to treat with that level of rigor, and that is your backyard pond.
Yeah, it's a huge shift in perspective.
It really is. We are diving into some incredible source material today. It's a field report from a company called Superior Ponds based out in Minnesota,
Great piece.
titled, When Your Water Feature Isn't Working Right, What a Professional Diagnostics Service Actually Does. And our mission here is to explore why complex systems naturally defy easy, quick-look answers, right?
Exactly.
And how adopting the mindset of a professional diagnostician can radically change the way you look at hidden problems.
Because we have this innate human desire for a single point of failure.
No, totally.
When a system breaks, we just want to find the one bad apple, throw it out, and move on. But the reality of troubleshooting requires entirely abandoning that mindset.
Well, source material kicks off with a story about a couple, Mark and Susan in Prior Lake, who experienced exactly what we just described.
Yeah.
Their DIY waterfall slowed to a trickle, the water got murky, and they reached out to Superior Ponds with a very, standard request.
Yeah, the classic, can someone just swing by, take a quick look, and point at what we need to fix?
Right. Just point at it.
But at a glance, standing on Mark and Susan's patio, nothing looked catastrophic. I mean, the pump was technically humming.
Right. No geysers shooting into the sky.
Exactly. A casual walk-by would have diagnosed absolutely nothing.
So the technicians actually put the pond under the microscope, essentially, and what they found was a cascading failure.
Yeah, it's never just one thing.
Right. It started with an intake that was partially clogged by years of organic buildup, and that clog was starving the pump, forcing the motor to work overtime.
Yeah.
Then, further down the line, there were plumbing restrictions choking the circulation even more.
And that lack of circulation is exactly what triggered the murky water. You essentially had stagnant zones forming, which was starving the beneficial bacteria of oxygen.
Wow.
But the real hidden danger was a slow, almost invisible leak developing along one section of the stream edge.
Wait, I want to pause on that leak for a second, because the article mentioned this leak was forcing the system to constantly refill, which was throwing off the biological balance.
Yeah.
How exactly does adding fresh water destroy a pond? I mean, isn't fresh water a good thing?
You would think so, right?
Yeah.
But remember that municipal tap water is treated with chlorine and chloramines.
Oh, to make it safe for us to drink.
Exactly, by killing bacteria. But a pond relies on a massive colony of beneficial nitrifying bacteria to consume fish waste and, decomposing leaves.
Right.
So when a leak causes a pond to constantly drain, the automatic sill valve keeps dumping chlorinated tap water into the system.
Mm-hmm.
It essentially sanitizes the pond, nuking that beneficial bacteria.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, without the bacteria, algae takes over, and suddenly you have green, murky water.
That is wild. So the murky water wasn't caused by a lack of chemicals.
Nope.
It was caused by an invisible edge leak, slowly poisoning the ecosystem with tap water.
Exactly.
None of that could be diagnosed by a guy just pointing at a waterfall.
Which forces us to look at how we categorize these features in our minds. Homeowners often treat a water feature like a broken sprinkler head or a burned-out light bulb.
Right, like a simple mechanical switch.
Exactly. But a koi pond, or even just a pondless fountain, is a living ecosystem. You are dealing with fluid dynamics, electrical resistance, biological filtration, and structural settling, all interacting in real time.
I mean, I get the ecosystem argument for the green water, but at the end of the day, a waterfall is just water flowing through a tube.
Whoa.
If the water is slow, it's a blockage or a weak motor, right? Why do I need to pay a professional diagnostician to tell me my tube is clogged? Just sell me a new pump.
What's fascinating here is how often that exact assumption leads to complete mechanical disaster.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Let's look at the anatomy of that pump. It's not just a magic box that pushes water.
Yeah.
Inside there is an impeller.
Okay.
It's a rotating hub with blades that uses centrifugal force to move water.
Oh.
If you just assume the pump is old and dying, you might buy a new one.
Right. Standard fix.
But if the actual root cause is a hidden plumbing restriction creating massive back pressure,
Oh.
what we call head pressure in the industry,
Yeah.
that new pump is going to fight that exact same restriction.
And it burns out the brand new motor.
Exactly. Or worse, what if the problem is a starved intake, like Mark and Susan had? If the skimmer isn't letting enough water into the pump, the impeller spins too fast with too little resistance.
Like it's revving in neutral?
Basically, it creates tiny vacuum bubbles in the water that implode violently against the impeller blades. This is called cavitation.
Cavitation. Wow.
Yeah, it will physically tear chunks of plastic or metal off a brand new impeller in a matter of weeks.
Oh.
If you just swamp the pump without diagnosing the intake restriction, you will destroy a $1,000 piece of equipment almost immediately.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. It's treating the symptom instead of the system.
Precisely.
Think about how often we do this with household maintenance, you know? Like, you have a room in your house that is freezing cold all winter.
Oh, yeah.
The symptom is a cold room. Your solution is to go out and buy an expensive electric space heater, which spikes your energy bill.
Right.
But you never bothered to diagnose the room. If you had, you'd realize the window frame has warped and the weather stripping is completely gone.
Exactly.
You are treating a structural draft with a localized heat source. The root cause is still there, quietly costing you money.
It's the exact same logic. And in the water feature world, the most expensive damaging root causes are usually leaks.
Yeah, the source goes into detail on leak detection, and I was, frankly, blown away by how sneaky water can be.
Oh, it's incredibly deceptive.
Yeah. They pointed out that a pond might only leak when the pump is actually running because the leak is somewhere in the waterfall plumbing, not the main basin.
Right?
Or, get this, it only leaks when the wind is blowing from the east, catching the waterfall splash and carrying it out of bounds.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Or consider capillary action. You might have a perfectly intact rubber liner, but over the years, mulch or soil has settled over the edge, touching the water.
Okay.
That soil acts like a sponge, literally wicking the water up and over the barrier, draining the pond silently into the surrounding ground.
Wow.
You can't see that from a quick walk by. You have to get your hands dirty, move rocks, dig through mulch, and trace the water line inch by inch.
Which brings us to the part where people have to pull out their wallets because finding a leak caused by capillary action or identifying pump cavitation requires rigorous, systematic work.
It really is.
Superior Ponds charges a baseline of $295 for this diagnostic visit. And the source notes that getting homeowners to accept this fee is one of the biggest hurdles they face. People really bristle at paying for someone to, quote-unquote, come look.
It requires a massive mindset shift. Homeowners don't blanket a mechanic charging a diagnostic fee to put their car on a lift and hook it up to a computer, right?
True.
Or HVAC technicians charging service call fees just to step foot in your utility room.
Yeah, that's just normal.
But because a pond is outside, surrounded by plants and rocks, it gets categorized as landscape.
Oh, I see.
They forget it is a highly engineered piece of machinery. That $295 isn't for a glance. You are paying for a professional to systematically dismantle your ecosystem to find the hidden fault lines.
And the breakdown of what they actually do on site justifies that completely. I mean, the article details how technicians will spend up to an hour flow testing the plumbing, checking the electrical voltage to make sure a voltage drop isn't slowly frying the equipment,
That happens a lot.
and setting up temporary pipe bypasses to isolate different sections of the water feature to see exactly which zone is losing water.
They are essentially running the equivalent of medical lab work on the plumbing.
And I loved this one specific detail. Sometimes a significant portion of that expensive diagnostic time is just the technicians sitting on a bucket staring at their phone.
I know it looks terrible.
Right. If you are the homeowner watching through the kitchen window, you're probably thinking, I am paying this guy to scroll social media.
Exactly.
But what they are actually doing is navigating the company's internal database.
Right.
They are pulling up complex pump flow curves to calculate if the pipe diameter matches the vertical height of the waterfall, or they are cross-referencing discontinued parts.
And that is the difference between an amateur guessing and a professional diagnosing. They aren't leaving until the physics of the system make sense on paper.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the story of Lynn from Egan. This perfectly illustrates the value of the diagnostic fee.
Oh, this is a great example.
Lynn has a beautiful decorative fountain. Lately, it's losing water faster than usual, and the water flow at the pump is super weak.
Yeah.
She assumes, completely logically, that the pump is just dying of old age. So she calls Superior Ponds and says, hey, my pump is dead, come replace it.
And any standard, less scrupulous contractor would jump at that.
For sure.
They would say, absolutely, that will be $800 for the new pump and installation, swap it out, take the money, and drive away.
But the technicians insist on the diagnostic first. They pull the housing apart and find the pump is totally fine.
Yep.
The actual issue is a partially cracked outlet pipe hidden underground and a reduced intake pressure from debris.
Now consider what would have happened if they just listened to her and swapped the pump.
Okay.
A brand new, powerful pump would have taken all that fresh water pressure and forced it directly into a cracked pipe.
Oh, no.
The crack would have ruptured entirely, blowing a hole in the side of the plumbing.
Which would have drained the fountain basin in a matter of hours. And then that expensive new pump would have been running completely dry, overheating, and destroying its own motor by the end of the day.
Exactly. But because they ran the diagnostic, they identified the cracked pipe, they had the PVC fittings on the truck, they cut out the bad section, glued in a new one, and cleared the intake.
Nice.
The initial diagnostic was $295 plus the materials, bringing her total to $489.
Wow. She got a permanent, scientifically verified fix for half the cost of the unnecessary pump she originally asked for.
Yep.
That is paying for clarity. It actively protected her from a cascading disaster.
But, diagnosing an issue doesn't always lead to a happy, inexpensive repair.
Right.
Sometimes a deep diagnostic reveals that a system is fundamentally compromised.
Yeah, the source transitions into this incredibly heavy territory about what they call the truth conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, before they even get on site for one of these, they utilize remote audits. Superior Ponds heavily encourages owners to send photos and videos before scheduling a drive out to the property.
Which is smart, because when a team specializes exclusively in one type of system, like water features, they develop intense pattern recognition.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, they aren't just looking at the water. They're looking at the type of stone used, which tells them what era it was built in.
Oh, wow.
They're looking at the brand of the skimmer lid. They're looking for the telltale signs of UV degradation on exposed rubber liner,
Right.
which turns it from a flexible membrane into something as brittle as a potato chip.
And sometimes those photos reveal an old concrete and mortar feature that is just crumbling at the foundation, or a massive DIY project with years of wild Frankenstein-style modifications bolted onto it.
Yeah. That is when the technician knows they're walking into a situation where a repair is functionally impossible.
I mean, you just can't patch it anymore.
Right. Fixing a plumbing leak on a 25-year-old sun-baked liner is pointless, because the moment you pull back the rubber to patch it, it shatters into a dozen new cracks.
Arriving on site to deliver that news carries a massive emotional weight. We aren't talking about a broken dishwasher here.
No, not at all.
For a lot of people, these ponds are deeply personal sanctuaries. The article talks about clients who have spent decades caring for these spaces.
Yeah.
You have homeowners who built the pond with a spouse who has since passed away. The pond holds their heirloom fish collection, their gardening memories, their morning routine.
It's really emotional.
Breaking the news that this beloved ecosystem is officially on life support, I mean, that is brutal.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the exact moment the technician's role shifts from a mechanical engineer to a grief counselor.
Wow, yeah.
Having the truth conversation requires immense empathy. The professional has to look the homeowner in the eye and say, I know how much this pond means to you, but taking your money for another patch is financially irresponsible. The foundation is gone.
What I found so profound about their approach is that they don't just dump that bad news and leave.
Right.
They navigate the tension between the ideal engineering fix and the homeowner's actual human reality.
Because the ideal engineering fix is usually a total demolition and a massive expensive rebuild.
Which not everyone can do.
Exactly. A professional diagnostician asks about the homeowner's life. Maybe they are on a fixed retirement income and can't afford a $30,000 koi pond rebuild.
Yeah.
Maybe they are physically aging and can no longer safely climb over boulders to clean out a deep biological filter.
So they find an alternative path. Maybe they fill in the deep pond and convert it into a shallow, pondless waterfall.
That's a great option.
The homeowner still gets the beautiful sound of the water and the visual aesthetic, but the intense biological maintenance and the drowning hazards are completely removed. They find a solution that fits the homeowner's current stage of life.
It requires an honest, collaborative dialogue, which is why the article culminates in this almost desperate plea to their customers.
Yes.
Please ask questions.
Yes, the technicians follow up with clients and they note that the absolute worst feedback they can receive is a homeowner saying, I didn't really understand what the tech meant about the hydrostatic pressure.
Right.
Or I was too overwhelmed to ask about the pipe diameter. Or simply, I didn't want to sound dumb.
Think about it. Water features are highly visual, spatial systems. They only make sense when you are standing right there, looking into the skimmer box, pointing at the water line, and tracing the plumbing together.
Yeah.
Trying to explain a complex hydrodynamic failure over the phone 3 days later, relying on handwritten notes and memory, is a total nightmare for both parties.
They literally beg the customer. If the diagnostic doesn't make sense, if the repair plan feels unclear, or if the budget sounds terrifying, say something while they're standing in your yard.
Exactly.
They would always prefer to spend an extra 20 minutes on site re-explaining the mechanics of a biological filter than leave you feeling confused and vulnerable.
It all comes back to establishing trust. You can't successfully repair a complex system without first repairing the communication between the expert and the owner.
So what does this all mean? It means that whether you are a dedicated DIY hobbyist, and by the way, Superior Ponds actively encourages DIYers to use their resources to learn.
Which is awesome.
Right. Or, you are hiring a professional. The ultimate goal of any diagnostic is the exact same. You are trying to move from the anxiety of guessing to the power of knowing.
Yes.
You want to replace the paralyzing uncertainty of why is my water murky and my pump making that grinding noise?
With clarity.
With the absolute clarity of here's the mechanical issue, here's the root cause, here are the exact next steps, and here are my options.
You are fundamentally buying confidence. When you have electricity, water pressure, structural settling, and biological life all colliding in one space, guessing is not just expensive.
It's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
It's about stripping away the mystery so you can actually get back to enjoying this beautiful thing you built, rather than staring at it through the kitchen window, stressing over its hidden failures.
This raises an important question, and it's something for you to ponder long after this deep dive ends.
Oh, I like this.
We've spent all this time establishing that a pond is a delicate balance of mechanical parts and biological life, where treating a symptom without understanding the system leads to disaster.
Right.
But look at the living systems in your own life right now. Your household routines, your career trajectory, your daily habits.
Okay.
When things get murky, when your personal energy slows to a trickle, are you just tossing in chemical patches? Are you just buying a new planter, drinking another espresso, and hoping the green water clears up?
Wow.
Or is it time to drain the system, move the rocks, and do a fearless, honest diagnostic of your own root causes?
Are you just asking for a quick look in the waiting room, or are you ready to finally find the leak? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the world around you, keep looking beneath the surface, and we'll see you next time.
Superior Pond, superior care, your backyard retreat beyond compare. Minnesota's finest at your call. Your pond stays perfect.